Justin.
Okay, there you go. We got a name.
First question is to the rappers, how do you use the microphone? do y'all hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're just gonna share these mics. First thing, same thing, I wanna say thank you to everybody. Tony and Teeta both popping off. And we'll talk about the difference between the way y'all popped off. And Shedrick, I wanna thank him because everything, basically, he reached out to me with his book, and it really helped me revive Trill City, because if y'all know me, y'all know I've just been fucking with flowers this whole time. So, and I don't mean weed either. That's a past life. So. Yeah, so we'll get started. You know, the gap that I want to kind of like bridge is that he reached out to me with this book that was about 2009, and his photos since then, and it hit me, you know, like this is basically Trill City was official in 2010, and I've known Fat Tony since like maybe 2006 or something?
2006, yeah.
So like, yeah, this will made me to 2010, so like, it's like we all kind of were at our beginning of our adulthood, end of our adolescence, and starting everything, so it just felt like, wow, you captured 10 years, it's just like a lot of people's 10 years, and so to kind of take a step and re-examine everything was just like, I thought it would be real sick. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is, I guess we can just start from you and move this way. It's like, where were you in 2009, and what were you doing with your career? How far did you come? Like, where were you at in 2009?
I mean, 2009 was really like a restart for me. You know, I just come off like the recession like hit me hard, no job. I was, you know, had to sell my car, shit like that, you know. So it was a very like personal. That was a personal year for me, and it was the same year that I found photography, because I was looking for something to like, you know, replace what I lost. You know what I'm saying? Like I was, you know, I moved away from where I was, you know, and I moved to New York City, and you know, visually the city caught me. I guess everybody probably, it catches everybody different. Maybe sonically for Fat Tony and Teeta, maybe, you know, on a journalistic angle for
I'm a tourist.
For you, yeah, you know. So it caught me visually, and it manifested itself through photography, you know. And I picked up a little film camera, and you know, I'm here now doing what I'm doing.
Tony?
2009 was a great fucking year for me. First of all, I put out my very first CD that you funded in 2008. So 2009 was the first year that I actually got to go out there and perform it and get outside of Houston. Man, to backtrack it, I'm from Houston, Texas, from 3rd Ward. I never played anywhere outside of Houston until I met him. He booked me to play in Austin at the 29th Street Co-op. Is that the name of it?
That's right, yeah.
That was my first.
Wait, we did Shanice's birthday party.
Oh shit, well that was also you.
That was at the old Blue Genie Theater back when there was a Goodwill over there. Yes. If y'all know the Blue Hanger, yeah.
Those are both my first experiences leaving Houston ever. Besides, I went to a funeral in Fort Worth once when I was a little kid, but that's it. So after those trips, I was like, damn, maybe I can travel to more places. And I remember I met my friend Shaka, aka GoldenEye, Tom Cruise, who is my longtime producer. I met him on MySpace, and he invited me to come to Atlanta in 2008. And that was my first time being on an airplane, and I like saved up money for my part-time job, and I went out there for a week, and we made music, and we hung out, and just really opened my eyes. So in 2009, I took the energy of going to Austin and going to Atlanta to try to travel as much as I can. And I went to New York. I signed up for the CMJ Festival, which isn't around anymore, but it's kind of like South by Southwest, or it was like South by Southwest, different venues around the city, different performers, like an industry thing. And I went to New York for a week, and I loved it, and I met so many cool people. And at the time, Shaka lived out there, so he introduced me to mad people, and I took it upon myself to go to different artist shows that I familiarized myself with from the internet. and everybody showed me love, and it was just like the first year of my life where I really felt like, wow, I can do music, I can travel, and I can see more than I've seen growing up in Houston. It was a real eye-opener for me.
Oh man, so me, I'm from Austin, like I'm born and raised, so 2009, I was like 17, 18, like first, second year of college, and like I come up in a rap group, Team Next, and I started doing that like 2007, and I would always do like side projects, like solo projects, and so like I had my own little like fan base, my own little like pocket. And I met Fat Tony, like I met Arturo like 2010. I met Fat Tony 2009. We had got booked by these kids from Texas State. Like they had like a little like promotion thing. I don't even remember what their name was right now.
I think the name was Some Broke College
Yep,
Kids.
yeah, for real, yeah, that's it. And like nobody had ever booked me. Like I had never had like a solo show ever. Like I had never been nowhere without my group type shit. And like I met him like back then, and I don't know. I was just out here in Austin fucking around, like bullshitting, turning up in the streets, like you know what I'm saying, fucking with girls. You know what I'm saying? Like I had just started college. I was in the honors program. Like I'm like riding the line, like you know what I'm saying, the whole time. But I don't know, just being me. It wasn't really like I didn't even get the recession or anything. I didn't know what the fuck none of that even was. I was riding in the hoopty. I was riding like 5 deep in the hoopty and shit. Like you know, 2009. It was lit. Like I was telling my boy Shedrick earlier. I was like. I was around like during like every era of like, you know, those photos, but like, and I was rapping, but I just wasn't on, you know what I'm saying? But I always considered like that's my like era, like that's like, I still be hanging with like Mikey Rocks and shit, like, you know what I'm saying, when I'm in Chicago, or like, you know, I always considered that my era, I just wasn't there yet. And like, I don't know, I was turned in 2009 too.
Which, something I wanted to bring up is the difference between the recognition you guys have received is that partially, I mean, I think it's that Austin gets overlooked with rap. So, Tony, you've been like, kind of every step of the way, you get some recognition and it's like positive, a little more and a little more. And this is definitely from hard work. And you, like I can say, like when he talks about, he was really in the streets like that. You know what I mean? Next day, they were definitely, I mean, I've seen him be like fearless in the streets with some like petty bullshit people trying to like, so I'm gonna say he was not getting on, but he was on in different ways. So, and now you're getting super on. This is a super hot year. Yeah. So brings to the next question where we're talking about this. You saying that class of rappers. So I want to ask all of you about: are we comfortable calling that the internet rap era? And like, what is internet rap to you? And how does that affect like what you focus on?
I think you can, if you want to just take it literal, I mean, this is internet rap. Rap is on the internet. Maybe there was 8-track rap, maybe there was cassette rap, but right now it's like, it's internet rap. You know, so it doesn't bother me, but I'm not a musician, so.
Well, Shedrick, I want to, from a photographer perspective, is that like something you look for, or like when, how does the internet and like that category play into like, at the time, what you were looking for in terms of taking shots of people?
Yeah, I mean, because it was like the birth of like DIY almost. People realize like artists, at least the artists I work with, realize like you don't have to have label money to get it. You know what I'm saying? You can go get it yourself. Like we put this event together. This is DIY. This money came out of our pocket to, you know, be blessed by y'all's attendance. So, you know, it was a good year.
You know, as a fellow big rap nerd, I'm really humbled that you want to classify this era that we belong in. I think it's dope. I think it's important that we remember the shit that we've seen is as important as the stuff that we've read about musically. And I would say that that's a fair title to give it, you know, because it was post MySpace music, and it was right when avenues like Tumblr was getting popular, and Bandcamp was just starting to get popping, and those really showed a lot of young artists like us that we could put music out on our own terms. I can say for damn sure that my first album, Rabder Gap, came out mostly on Bandcamp, but even before it hit the iTunes, and that's where I really got most of the listeners from it. And yeah, I think that the era that we kind of grew up in, we're really lucky to be a part of it, because unlike everything before, it really showed us that we could do this shit by ourselves with not even getting like a cosign or an investment from somebody from a past era, like purely just working part-time jobs or fucking selling weed or doing whatever we had to do to make the money to fund our shit, and we did it, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, definitely internet rap, like that shit. I'm proud of that, you know what I'm saying? Like I seen like Cool Kids and like Pac Div and all them like come out and like pave the way, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was right there. I wasn't even old enough to get in the club, but I wanted to be a part of it, you know what I'm saying? So I was using MySpace, and I seen like Lil B 100 MySpace pages, like, you know what I'm saying? Like dead ass, you feel me? Like, so yeah, hell yeah, it's internet rap, you know? Like even like you said, Raptor Grab, or however you pronounce it, like that shit was popping for like 2 years. You feel me? Like I wasn't even on iTunes or none of that. I'm dropping Hulk share links and shit, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like for real, I'm like that Piff type shit. Like I remember my first first time I got like 1,000 downloads on like a Hulk share link type shit. You know what I mean? So that just opened it up to me. Like now, like you can't really look at how like everybody else is doing it. You can kind of like do it in your own way, and people are gonna view it from their own space, and that shit will be enough to like put you over the hump at whatever time, you know what I'm saying? Whatever time you at, you know what I'm saying? Cause like he was saying, like I didn't get the recognition, but I always had pockets of people who fucked with my shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's because of the internet, you know what I mean? And it wasn't none of that before like MySpace and all that. It wasn't nothing going on. It was like you had to, like it was $1 million videos and like, you know what I'm saying? Like all that shit was still out, like that was still going on. And like, I don't know, that transition happened and like from like Soulja Boy and like, you know, like people who really don't get the credit for it, but like, yeah, like it might not have been the most lyrical shit, but like Soulja Boy and like, you had lyrical rappers and shit coming out and like everything was cool, you know what I'm saying? Everything was cool, and that's how I think shit should still be too. And I'll say that wasn't the birth of DIY, because I would never disrespect like our forefathers. That was the rebirth of DIY, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so same way I vouched for Teeta, I want to vouch for Tony on saying, like, if you look at the way you started, it's kind of like it laid a lot of blueprints for a lot of people. And I don't know how many people probably that surpassed you in terms of like the superficial numbers, but like I know a lot of people will come to you and be like, yo, like, I remember you and like the influence you had on people. And I feel like you really kind of like pioneered the internet rap, because of the way that you did use all those platforms, but at the same time managed to, if you look at like the way people were associated to you and the way you were placed like strategically on different projects, and it was that whole like y'all built your own audience. And it's like the fact you kind of pushed your way through because you had your fans regardless of what people wanted to ignore you. I mean, Austin Chronicle definitely wasn't paying attention before, and now they are, because you pushed your way through with everything. I think that's the result of the path that you laid, with basically like you just kind of were able to set the foundation for how do you navigate the internet, you know? So I definitely want to address that. Yes.
I'm like, yeah, I was like we came in basically the same, but like I was always trying to get like Tony, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he moved to New York and like he was doing a whole lot, you know what I'm saying? I was always trying to like figure out like how could I do that like my own way? How could I like get my shit up? You know what I'm saying? So I was always like inspired, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm inspired by a lot, but yeah, for sure.
I just want to say that, first of all, thank you. It's very kind of you. But I follow my nose and my gut the whole way, you know what I mean? Like, I was fortunate to have access to the internet. I had a computer at my parents' house, and they gave me the free reign to use it when I wanted to, right? And then I saw groups like the Cool Kids or like Lil B having these MySpace pages, pumping their music out there, and I thought, wow, this is a good way for me to start. Granted, I'm coming from the era where like we still sold CDs and went to the movie theater and went to, you different schools and try to peddle the CDs. But I try to make a point to use the internet to reach people too. And because of that, I met so many people that have really been important in my career, from my collaborators like Shaka to Merz to all these artists that I met because I just messaged them out the blue like, hey, I really fuck with you. I love what you're doing. This is what I'm doing. If you dig it, let me know. If you don't dig it, I'm open to some pointers. Or hey, I'm coming to your city to play this show. Can we meet up? Just like really putting myself out there and just humbling myself to learn. And I think a lot of people that I became close with felt that, and they allowed me into their world. Like even somebody like Massanzala, I met him through my friend Cam, who's a singer with this group, The Suffers, and I emailed him this long ass email where I was like, yo, I make music, this is my first record, I have this group, I love what you do with your radio show, Damage Control. I read Murder Dog. None of my friends read Murder Dog, but I love rap music.
Can I speak up? And I fuck with Massanzala. Like I fuck with Massanzala, but he definitely slept on me for a long time. Like, cause like I said, I come up in Team Next, right? And like it wasn't really no Austin rap scene back then. And like we had people from the Chronicle and like a bunch of alternative people helping us to do stuff. And then like shit, like he said, the recession came and like there was no money, like none of that there. So all those people kind of jumped ship and they weren't passionate about the music. But the first person they told us to reach out to was Matt Sanzala. This nigga blew me off for years because he was big like the Houston rap though. Like he was big in Houston rap. You know what I'm saying? But he's like I guess from here. But like he blew me off for years. Now he fucking me heavy. Like I fuck with him too. Like it ain't no bad blood, but that's just another like thing that I had to go through just being from Austin and trying to do it from Austin. You feel me? Like bro, I fuck with Massanzala. Like he know.
I think that is hard though. I think a lot of people blow artists off because of other reasons that don't have to do with the artist that they're actually blowing off. Like maybe their job sucks. Maybe they got some shit wrong with their personal life. Maybe they're just at the point where they're finally jaded about music. Cause I think to really do this shit like all of us do, at the forefront of our careers, it's mostly built off passion. It's not built off the money. It's not built off, people thinking that we're cool. It's like built off our personal obsession with just music or photography or art or t-shirts or whatever the fuck that we devoted all of our time into. And once that starts to wear out, I think everybody has a little period where they're kind of a dickhead and they have to find that love again and get back into the game and figure out their whole shit.
So we kind of talked about the climate and a little bit of personal stuff. I want to get more personal. Something we all deal with, regardless of internet rap or just people in general, is doubt. Points of like you question whether or not you should go forward with your dreams and all these different things, and just having to explain yourself. Austin has a lot of people here that are like different from their family, and that's why we came here. And so I want to know what kind of things you guys dealt with, and at what point you have to say, no, I really want to do this photography shit. I know I can believe in myself. And
okay, well, I mean, so like this book is definitely like a dream. Like to publish a book is like something I wanted to do, but the journey to this book wasn't calculated. You know what I'm saying? It was like I was in pits and shit, shooting shows, paying money to get in shows to shoot. So like you said, pure passion. I just want to be there capturing the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a fan first, but, once I started doing photography, I turned into an artist. You know what I'm saying? So, that for me kept me going. You know what I'm saying? Being a fan, but also having the energy of an artist and, like, pursuing something and, like, wanting to be better and get better,
Do you remember anyone specifically telling you to try something different, or maybe you need to get a regular job or something like that?
I mean, of course, my parents were like very conscious of like my well-being, so they wasn't trying to hear like, yo, I'm just gonna pay money to go to Austin and run around for a week and then come back and do a bunch of work that may or may not even get looked at. You cool with that? So they were. I wouldn't call them doubters, but they were skeptical of the plan. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it was a moment for me to find something that was my own. Like like I said, this was like, if we're talking about rebirth, Teeta, you know, this was my rebirth, you know? Like I said, like, I was going through it, and now I was back out of it, and I was going through this, like this book has a few different parallels running, you know? There's my story, then there's also the artist's story, you know, whatever was going on with the artist. Like, I look at it, and each one of these pictures, I can go through it and tell you what was going on in my life, whether I was broke, whether I was moving apartments, whether I was missing my family, whatever it was, each photo has a story behind it. And some of these artists in here, I've covered, like, main attractions from the West Coast. I saw them at their first South by. Then I shot their last New York City show within the span of like 5 years. So who knows what they went through in that time. So I know they had a story, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they was going through. So, you know, that's a parallel that was also running with my story as like my personal life. And then the other parallel was my career, like me trying to like establish myself and like make some money, you know what I'm saying? Start a family, you know what I'm saying? Buy a car, I don't know what else we need money for, I don't know. But you know, so yeah, right, trees all the time. So yeah, you know, even if nobody would even pick this book up, or if nobody would have showed up to the event, like, I really did this for myself. I look at it and I'm like, damn, I really was out there. You know what I'm saying? I look at all these fucking photos. I'm like, yo, I was out there. You know what I'm saying? I feel good about that. That's not even like no cap. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I was out there. You know, and you know, that's special. So I mean, everybody's got a personal journey, and this is mine, and that's how I attach to it. I was out there. You know what I'm saying? But also, it's like, me and Tony have gone full circle. I work with him randomly at South by, like, he didn't know me, just some dude hitting him up, like, yo, let's take some photos. All right, well, meet me here? Okay, yeah, snap. Who was that dude? You know what I'm saying? It was like, that was the moment. It was South by, we were running, and that was the moment. It was really quick, you know? And now we're back, you know, showcasing photos of him, you know, in my book, and it's just like, it brings it full circle, man, you know? It really does.
And that's why we need people like you, or people like you as a label owner or a journalist or a show promoter that document this shit and show people what was really happening. Because I feel like artists like me and Teeta, most artists, we're just working all the time and we have our heads down and we're just focused on producing content and not worried about where it goes. It takes someone else to really put it on display and be like, yo, take a look at this. Here's the date that this happened and why it's important, and putting it in some kind of context. So I think you got to give it up for these two guys before we go any further.
So, Tony, did anyone tell you like you better quit rapping?
Man, I honestly feel like I had a lot of support from day one, from my friends and from strangers. And anybody that told me not to mess with it, I kind of tuned them out because I was so focused on this. Like, I think to really get anything done that comes from yourself, you have to really, really, really be like obsessed with it. And I had a lot of confidence starting out making music, you know, just because it made me feel so good and it made me feel better than anything else I ever did before. And I just ran with that. And I think people that would have wanted to sway me away from it could see that and didn't want to be so vocal about that. You know, so if they were trying to suggest me to do something else, it'd be in a really light way. It would be the diet version of them telling me to get a job, you know. But I think even within music, I've had more people within music try to sway me to do some other shit that I don't want to do. Try to make the kind of music that I don't think best fits my voice or my character or my interest, you know. And when it comes to that, a lot of the time, I've really tried to shut it out. And I really encourage every artist out there to try to shut it out and go with their own voice, because ain't nothing like sounding like yourself. I saw this great lecture with Junior Marvin, who was the guitarist for Bob Marley and the Wailers. And his biggest advice was, as a musician, you should try to sound like yourself, whether it's through your instrument, you use certain effects or pedals that makes your sound unique, or as a singer, there's something about your voice that makes you unique. I think that's number one. And that's what I've mostly heard in my life that I try to shut out. People telling me to rap over different kind of beats or write about different kind of things, and I think it's all bullshit. I think we all have a certain voice that is most appropriate for us, and if we follow that, we'll put ourselves in the right positions, and as we sway from that, we'll find ourselves making more missteps, you know, like, luckily we're in an era where there's so much data right in front of us, so if you're a singer or you put out music, you can see what people are gravitating towards and what they're not, and if you really look at it, I guarantee you, for everybody in here, the songs that have the most engagement, whether that's comments or it's views or whatever, are the songs that you might feel are most like yourself.
Well, like for me, and I know a lot of people can like relate to it, but like for me, like that doubt and all that, that's like constant, like that's like reoccurring, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll get over it and then it'll hit you again, you know what I'm saying? Because you're like, damn, I know I'm cold, like I know I'm good, but like this shit ain't happening, you feel me? Or like, by this time, I would've wanted to be right here, but like, that shit ain't happening for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? But like you said, you just gotta push through, you know what I'm saying? And like, people wanted me, like, people always had their own like expectations for me and wanted me to be everything but, you know what I'm saying, who I wanted to be or what I wanted to be. And so I always had to, like, I went to college full academic scholarship, like I could've been anything I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? But before I went to college, I already knew what and who I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? And just like the struggle between all that is what I always had to like deal with. And so when I graduated, like I moved to Houston because my mama always told me, like, everybody gave me every reason why I could not make it as a rapper from Austin in Austin. You know what I'm saying? Say, oh, you gotta move to LA or you gotta move to Atlanta. And my mom always told me to be an entrepreneur, like she wanted me to be an entrepreneur, and that I would have to, like it would be smart for me to move to Atlanta or to Houston because this was a white man's town and it wasn't built for a black man to be successful, which is true. If you look systematically and if you look at the data, like you're saying, the history and shit, it's built a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And I just had to like see past like everything that was already put in place. And so I moved to Houston when I graduated and I was like, I'm gonna give myself this amount of time and see if I can get in the field, you know, and like, you know what I'm saying, use my degree and this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like I slept on the floor for like 6 months and then I worked at the shoe store and I couldn't even afford to get no fucking shoes out the shoe store. But I was working at the shoe store so I could get my apartment or whatever. And like, after a while, I was like, I'm finna go back to Austin. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, I seen like this is like 2011. And I seen like Maxwell coming up and like all that shit. And all that shit really just made me think of like me and my family, like me and my people, like me and my crew, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything that was going on there was just going on, but it was just like without me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm thinking about moving back home and just like saying, fuck it. And like I seen one of my mentors, he came through the shoe store or whatever, and I told him that I was thinking about moving back home. And he was like, don't come back without a plan. And mind you, I had kind of just breezed my way through life at this point. Like I had never really planned out anything. You know, so like he was saying, I had never really calculated anything. It was just always popping. It was always whatever it was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? And like when I came back, with a different mind state. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I already dedicated myself to doing this or to being this. So I would rather die, like niggas die every day. Like I got so many homies that's done died and like people on the other side that's done died. I was like, I'd rather just die if I don't make it. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck if it take 20 years. I don't give a fuck if it take 30 years. I know I'm good. I know I'm good enough, and the 5 people or whoever that believe the same thing as me, then that's who I'm rocking with. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck who doubted. I don't care who look at me or hear me speak or whatever and feel like I should do something different. I'm gonna do everything I wanna do. You know what I'm saying? And that's what carried me. I always think back to when I did my first song. And like, I've never, like, I always, like, I'm from Texas. We've been freestyling since we was 3. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't really think, oh, I'm gonna be like a rapper. I'm gonna rap like for real until I was like 17. And I did my first song, and I went up to, like, most of the team next went to Conley, and I went up to Conley High School, and people knew my part to the song. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing that shit forever. Like, for real, because I had never felt like I was good enough for me at anything, like from sports and all. Like, I grew up a fat boy too, like, you know what I'm saying? I was never good enough at sports. All the girls just wanted to be my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, when I first rapped, it was on. You know what I'm saying? And I was pretty much the best rapper around, you feel me? I still am. You know what I'm saying? Like to keep it real, like I can out-rap anybody. But like, you know what I'm saying? Once I did that, and once I felt that, like I already knew this was for me. Like regardless of what I had to go through, I was willing to do it. So like that self-doubt, it always creep in. It creep back in like all the time. Cause you be like, I'm this age, I should have this going on. But I'm a rapper and I'm doing what the fuck I need to do to get where I want to go with that. And that's going, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what makes people happy, but I'm happy. I'm happy in life because that's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not doing something else that I compromise my life for. You feel me? So like with that self-doubt, you just gotta push through that shit. And you gotta think back to that time when you was the most excited about this shit. Or whatever it is you're doing, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is you're doing. And yeah, that's what get me straight through it. Like I'm gonna just turn up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna take it to another level. Then if this ain't the level, then we're gonna take it to another level. You feel me?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the same shit I go through. So now I want to talk about that's the doubt. There's pivotal moments when you really get maybe not the type of validation that you want, but it's validation nonetheless. And I remember, you know, my mom's Mexican, so she doesn't know what trill means, right? So when she sees Trill City, she's like, yes, that's one. Like, my family, they don't really know what that is, right? So, and the things that like, I'm like, yeah, but Tony's on now, look. And she's like, I don't know what Fat Tony is, like, nothing like, and I'm like, I can be like, yo, like, this dude wore my shirt, look, isn't that sick? It's in a music video. They're like, I don't know. And so, but it wasn't until something like Forever 21 steals a design, and it's in the mall, a hat that says Trill City. Then they're like, what? Fuck that, you know what I mean? Like, they really wanted to defend me. I'm like, where were you when, you know what I mean? Like, I was really, so I want to know what kind of moments of validation, whether or not it really mattered to you or not, but like, maybe apologies from people, or like, maybe an influential person acknowledges you, like, what kind of things do you have like that? Shedrick?
I mean, I don't know if I can really think of any specifics. I mean, I think I find validation just through the work I create, you know, whether it's like because I've been studying my craft, you know what I'm saying? I'm learning some new lighting techniques, got some new equipment. Once I produce some quality work, that's where I get my validation from. I'm not really somebody that takes too much advice, because I'm like, you know what? I got a vision. If I fuck up, I'm responsible. So just let me rock. Although I respect you, let me just rock, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's where I get my validation. And like a photo like this, and this was shot, this is Kendrick Lamar, 2012. Like that year at South by, like once he left South by, his name was everywhere. Like everywhere. So this is like, and you know, if you know South by Southwest, you know Fader Ford on a Friday night, you gotta be popping to hit that. You know, the main stage, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Tony. I know you know what I'm saying. So, you know, and this was early in my career. Like I didn't really, like you can see it's a little grainy because I had a T6i camera with, you know, trying to run it up 6,000 ISOs, like makes it grainy as hell. But anyways, it ain't perfect. But the shot I got tells so much, because first you got Kendrick and what he's going through, popping, probably wondering what's going on with his life in a month, you know what I'm saying? And then you got, if you look right here, there's a guy right here who's got a shot right in Kendrick's face. Now, if you're like a photographer, that's your dream shot, you know what I'm saying? So if he's getting that shot, what's his story? or even if he's not a photographer, he probably showing it at parties all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, look, check this out. I got the shit right here. Kendrick Lamar, 10 years ago, look, that's me. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, you got other stories. Who is this? This DJ guy, what's he got going on? So, like, the depth of this is what gives me validation. Like, and I didn't see this until like 10 years, not 10 years, but 5 or 6 years after I shot it, I realized the magic it had. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I reach back for this, So this is my validation. When I can create a memorable moment to put in a book like this, you know what I'm saying? This is my validation, work-wise, for sure. And you can purchase it too. We got some others to purchase out there. Let me know. Yeah, thank you for showing up, and that humbles me, and it validates me too. I mean, when you've been around, like as long as this whole panel has, you realize like nothing's promised. Your mama might not even show up, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Your girl might not show up. So, I just appreciate everybody showing up, for sure. Love, for sure. John,
Crazy. It's just very crazy, by the way. Y'all should all buy this. Seriously, y'all should
Really buy this. There's a lot of important artists in here. A lot of artists that are major and a lot of artists that are slept on currently, but nonetheless, they're really, really, really captured in here like never before. You ain't gonna find this shit on the internet.
If we talk about internet music, like most internet artists have such a niche following that they can survive off of. You know what I'm saying? You can go do a nationwide tour with 200,000 followers and get bread. You probably make a little bread if that's what you want to do. So this is like with all these artists and all their followings their followings may not even intersect sometimes. So it's a lot of people behind this book at the same time. And like we all know, Fat Tony and Arturo are definitely like OGs of the scene. Like, much respect to the people that been out there, because I've been out here, apparently.
Tony, I remember.
It's documented.
I was gonna say, I remember one time we were hanging out and you showed me your phone because you were like, Bun B just texted me that he values my friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you screenshot that?
Nah, but I still got the text, I think, man. I love Bun B, man. He's fucking, I'm a UGK stan. It's my favorite group. This is my favorite music group. And the fact that through my music, I've met Bun B and befriended him and we've made songs and shit really means a lot to me as like a fan. Like, I can say this. As an artist, my validation that means the most to me comes from when I meet artists that I looked up to that come to me and they respect what I do or they like what I do or can acknowledge what I do and they want to kick it. Like, it really means a lot because I'm a music fan first and foremost, and I've spent a lot of days and nights and money and still do listening to music and loving music and appreciating it and telling people about it, and it fucking makes me feel every emotion in the book from sadness to joy. Like, man, it ain't nothing like it, I also really love fans too. I feel like that's such a typical thing to say, but I do really appreciate it when someone like me steps to me and is like, yo, I listened to your song and it meant a lot to me and it made me feel something or it helped me, and I don't know, I'll like never get over that. Like that'll never get old. Meeting people that appreciate me and meeting people that I look up to that love what I do, it'll never get fucking old. And I feel very fortunate to be the person I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like my validation always comes from the people, you know what I mean? Just for the fact that like people really like fuck with what I'm doing and like it impacts them in whatever way. Like that's what make it to where you can do it forever, you know what I mean? Like, it ain't like I never been big on like other artists or like trying to like link up and shit, you know what I'm saying? Just because like I come from where it pays to be standoffish instead of like like I had to open my heart up with time, but just for like people to like really like fuck with it is what really like that's what does it for me. And like everybody always want, like, for the last few months, everybody want to talk about the Chronicle shit. Okay, so like stuff like that, yeah. When I first decided to like really step out on my solo shit, it was certain things that I wanted to like hit or certain publications and stuff. that I wanted to get on, because I felt like we should have been, like they should have been supporting us, like they should have been like putting us on, and like they hated or whatever. And like the Chronicle thing, like I was talking about that shit for like a year and a half. Like people know. Like I made a big deal out of it. Like y'all are the Austin publication. Y'all ain't even like, y'all not even fucking with the raw shit. Like y'all playing it safe. You know what I'm saying? I went and made like promo videos in front of their office building, all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? I was just badgering. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just like, you know, let people know like, nah, this is what's going on. And like for it to happen, when it happened, it was kind of like out the blue. Like people thought I like that shit was like planned out, but like none of us knew that they were gonna put us on the cover. And so like when that happened, that just like revalidated that like, yeah, like you can't really like fade out just yet. Like you gotta like go in with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So like stuff like that, just like accomplishing goals, like, and even like with my current manager Wayne, like we came out the gate just accomplishing like every goal. Like that's what validation for me, just accomplishing those goals and then seeing people excited about it and then being motivated to do what it is that they do and like pushing everything forward. That's what validates me.
All right, I want to ask a totally different topic, because if you look like even today, what we're doing, it's majority men. Even though it's like people of color, shout out to young Mihita because she was helping with this and she's showing her presence. But so as far as like since this time, queer people, women, other people of color, as far as in the realms that we're doing, what do you think about like how it's changed, if and what kind of things we need to do to incorporate new change and get people involved?
You want to? I mean, at the end of the day, like, as accessible as music and photography is, like, people are gonna do what they want to do, you know? They're gonna make their own decisions no matter what you suggest. At the end of the day, they'll be like, all right, well, if you don't like what I'm doing, then I don't really even have to contact with you or deal with you. There's an internet full of people that are just waiting to connect. So it's like, if you don't feel what I'm doing, then okay, that's cool. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, you know? So, yeah.
Man, I think you gotta get off the sexism and the homophobia and the transphobia ASAP. I ain't never rocked with it my whole life. Look, I fucking come from the alternative side of things. I make rap music. I grew up loving punk music. I love outsider art. A lot of my friends growing up my entire life have been gay or have been women or have been all kind of other shit that a lot of y'all might deem as freaks. And I fuck with them to their core, and I think that it's a great time to be a rapper in an era where that shit has been busted wide open and you can be gay or be trans or be a woman and get some fucking respect from people who are straight or heterosexual or whatever is considered normal. You know, I truly say fuck all that, and I think that as people who are always put on the outside as being different, whether you're a black man or a Latino man or a Latino woman or whatever that's been deemed by the majority as different, you need to band together and shut that shit all the way down and respect each other and hold each other up, and not in a way that is just to placate them and just seem like, oh, well, I did my part. Like, really, really do it. Like, really try to go out of your way to include women in your music and in your events, and queer people in your events and your music and all this kind of shit, and make it worthwhile.
You know, I'm gonna piggyback that real quick, but as far as women go, like, we don't even have to let. It's like they just pushing their way in wherever they want to. You know what I'm saying? They're taking control of their voice more than maybe 50 years ago or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they just pushing their way in. So, you know, women are basketball coaches now, football coaches now, you know, NFL coaches. So, you know, I just wanted to piggyback that.
Yeah, but
I would say let, because somebody makes the option at the end of the day. Somebody makes that actual decision. It's not like a woman can just say, hey, I want to do this shit, and then gets the chance. Or a gay man or woman or a trans person can just say, hey, I want to do it, and just gets the chance. Someone on the other side has to be like, yo, I'm gonna let it happen. I just saw in the airport here in y'all city, they're advertising this picture of LBJ and Martin Luther King as like a great sign of how cool Austin is and how progressive Austin is. That's the kind of moment that I'm talking about, where this motherfucker on one end who represents everybody that shuts the other side out is doing this symbolic gesture of, hey, I'm signing this to let it happen, to let other folks in. You know what I mean? You have to actively do it. It cannot be passive or it'll never happen.
And I was gonna say, yeah, like, it all, like, we sometimes, like, since we're all like learning humanity as we go. Like we live in like a cancel culture and all this where everybody's so quick to just like attack people and like judge people. But like we're all learning humanity. So like the basics of like relations between all people is respect. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether you black, white, male, female, gay, straight. If we respecting each other, then ain't like those issues don't exist. You know what I'm saying? And I come from where, like mentally or whatever, it ain't all inclusive. You know what I'm saying? Off the top. You know what I'm saying? You might wear certain colors like, oh, you gay, or like, you know what I'm saying? People just are just finna throw whatever at you just because. And like when we started Team Next, like Team Next was about like whoever, like if you a weirdo or like, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got both parents, or like you don't get all the Jordans, or like, you know what I'm saying, you might be gay, or like you not a blood, you a Crip, or like you a Crip, or like, you know, whatever it is, you can come fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? Cause don't none of that matter over here. You know what I'm saying? And like that's where we can all be lighthearted about whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And like even like my nails right now, like I ain't never had my nails painted in my whole life. I did this for a video, and like somebody asked me what it was about, and I'm like, it ain't about shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. You feel me? And like it just all come back down to respect. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to like badger other people to get your point across. You don't have to tear people down in order to build yourself up. You know what I'm saying? You can be who you are, and people can be who they are, and that ain't gotta destroy your life. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna ask you guys about the future.
Yeah, and as far as women, like like you were saying, you gotta be active. You know what I'm saying? Like we coming out of like the patriarch. So like, you know what I'm saying? You definitely gotta be active in, you know what I'm saying, like putting women, DJs, rappers, models, photographers, culinary artists, whatever it is, like express that. And not even just for women, just for whoever is doing it with a passion, you know what I mean? And like let it carry over. Like if we stop focusing on the specifics so much, that's when everything opens up. You feel me?
So I want to ask y'all about the future. If we're gonna see Fat Tony and Teeta have a track, is Shedrick Pelt gonna take the photos of that? And are we gonna do a Trill City tour? And then while I ask about that, I want y'all to think about any questions y'all might have for these people. Well, first we'll start with you.
Yeah, so listen, I'm kind of drizzy, so I'm gonna keep it real. I heard this you guys talking about like with the gays and the girls and all that kind of stuff. I really feel like as a black man, that black men forget about their own movement. Because I feel like it was a lot of girls that was doing that march for, remember they had a march downtown or whatever?
After Trump got elected?
Hey, none of them marched for a black man that got hung. You feel me? And I feel like as us being a black man, we try to get accepted by everybody and we forget what we're here for. You feel me? I'm not trying to bring no hate towards anybody. I'm black and Puerto Rican. You feel me? And I feel like we live in a city that 90% of everybody, when you go to a club that's playing hip hop, they're all Spanish. Why ain't it one black DJ? I feel like we can't forget about us before we start thinking about everybody else. I'm not starting no hatred, no nothing. I'm just saying a fact that's on my mind. You feel me? Since y'all was talking about that.
Shout out to Charles Moon, African American DJ. Hey, but no, I think before I let y'all answer, I just want to say I think the thing to stress there is the intersectionality of all struggles. And to say that we need to stress that, yeah, we need to march for black men, we need to march for anyone that's marginalized at all, and not to kind of say like, well, what about me? You know, I think we need to say, no, we're all together. And so, you know, I think what that calls for is more of a dialogue between different, you know, marginalized communities. What do you guys have to say?
Man, I feel like you just said exactly what I want to say, but I really feel like this, like I'm not calling for anybody to do shit. I'm just speaking on my point. I'm gonna fight for everybody that I believe deserves the rights that they deserve. You know what I mean? Whether it's for myself or for the next person. And I'm gonna do it with the same enthusiasm and the same strength and the same power. And I'm gonna be just as loud for myself as I'll be loud for everybody fucking else that I care about. And it's all the same. Now I understand that a lot of the activism and shit is part of a trend and part of a fad for some people, and they're only fighting for shit that they're gonna get likes for or get acknowledgement for. And a lot of time, our struggle as black people isn't ever gonna be as popular as anyone else's. But I'm not doing that for that. I'm not doing this shit for merits or for awareness to anybody. I believe in what I fucking believe in. And I've been saying the same shit my entire life.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I said in my last point, like at some point we gotta break down all the barriers and like get past all the specifics, because at the end of the day, it like you were saying, like it's about intersecting all those struggles. Like you can look at me and you see I'm a black man. Like Black Lives Matter because I'm black. Period. I don't give a fuck what the group is, or like I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Black Lives Matter. Like, come at me with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. That's what it's gonna always be, because that's me. But it's always gonna translate over into other things. People always find a way to separate everybody. And as a black man, you know what I'm saying, I understand that all things come from that first. You know what I'm saying? So we got even more of a standpoint to stand up for all rights. You feel me?
I mean to touch on your comment, like it's no secret that, you know, black men are in a dangerous time right now. You know what I'm saying? Like if I drive home alone, then there may be a percentage chance I may not even make it home, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to think like that, you shouldn't think like that, but just for this situation, I might not make it home, you know, and I don't know the answer. Like, I look to my elders for the answers, my father, people like that, teachers, old teachers and all that, but they seem like they don't really got their mind wrapped around it either, so we're all trying to figure out, like, why is this happening, you know?
That's the thing, is that, like, we don't have the answer. Like, we still struggling within ourselves too. You know what I mean? So like, we trying to. It's only gonna happen with the expansion of the mind state in the first place. Like, if we still, you know what I'm saying? Like all we gonna do is get mad about it or whatever. Like, that shit ain't gonna fix nothing. Like everybody that I lost to, like, whatever, was either to the police or to another black person. You feel me? So like, it ain't like we gotta break through all the, like, we gotta be strong like that. You feel me? Like, we got to, and that's what it's gonna take. Like, we gotta be able to be intelligent enough and to have the foresight and the clarity enough to look through, like, the veil that's presented up against us. The veil is presented up against us to keep us where we at. You feel me? Once we see through that veil and say, oh well, we can't be like, oh well, fuck that, cause like I'm a black man, so like ain't nobody fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? No, we gotta be the ones to like push through it and fight through it and like get all the shit going on. Like, that's just how it's gotta be. Like, that's our responsibility. Like, period. We always gonna have the power, bro. Like, we always gonna have the power. You feel me? We the influence. You know what I'm saying? The black man, black woman. Like, it's gonna be like that. Like, and that's no offense to nobody, but it's facts. It's facts. You know what I'm saying? That's like the reality. So we gotta be the ones to like hold all those positions. We gotta be the ones to push into every lane and make it count. You know what I mean?
I'd like to say, share the pleasure of knowing with all of you that Teeta studied psychology in college.
and my minor in African American studies.
So you can see how these answers are formed. at a historically black university in a very white city as Austin. Any other questions? Anybody else want to ask something? Yes.
I guess because y'all have different formats and some of y'all are through photography for you guys that I think about. What was our like favorite theme song or something that was like, yes, this is the song, I want to do that, and I want to know what is the artist or the song that really made you like get out of shit.
So she wants to know about inspirational song. What's the theme song for your life?
I would say for me is UGK Murder and Diamonds and Wood, two songs from the album Riding Dirty. Both of those songs changed my whole life. Fucking crazy. They're perfect in every way, from like the rhyming to the production to the little skits they have before them, like the sample and the beat. You know, those are two tracks that are able to touch on like everything. They like bragging, rhyming, they're getting vulnerable, they're getting personal, they're telling stories, they're doing a little bit of everything. They're fucking shouting out their friends, other artists that I also like, people like E40 and Be Legit. It's perfect.
Two of mine that I think of like whenever I need motivation is Teeta has a song called Pressure that, I don't know, I feel like no one knows that one, but like that's the one I'm always like, please play that one, Teeta, please. And it's featuring Swagger P, and I'm always asking myself, where's Swagger P? He's a mysterious man. And then, he's here. And then Fat Tony has a song, what's the one that's like, my uncle said I got a ball.
Oh, Love It Man.
Love It Man, yeah.
You like that song?
Samples Fat Pat, that one's also motivational. So that's for me.
I'm gonna play that shit tonight.
Thank you. Teeta, please play Pressure.
We're gonna work on
Acapella right now.
Yeah.
For me, like it was a lot of like songs that like led up to me like being inspired to be a rapper. Like I always been like just to keep it real, like I always been like inspired by what's hot. You feel me? Whatever's popping, like I like it. Yeah, like you just said, Soulja Boy, like all that shit. But I could say like shit. Once Lil Wayne was dropping like mad mixtapes, and he came out with like I Can't Feel My Face with Jewels.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? Black Republican, like all that shit. That did it for me. Zero, 1D, Plies, Takeoff, like that shit inspired like a whole lot of my life. Like Takeoff, like that shit was crazy. Damn, it's just so much. Like everything, like I was always in tune. Like he was saying, like I'm a fan first. Like so, I was listening to shit every day, and like I'm always trying to come up with like the new shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to think like a little bit past what the fuck going on right now. Like I hear that shit, I'm like, damn, that shit fire. Like, what can I do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Jump over that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. Everything. Everything. I'm an artist. Life, for real.
Well, I mean, my era of professional music photographer is like the start of, not the start, but it's like a lot of artists that dig in with a musician and follow that musician and have this personal, you know, relationship with the artist. You know, you look at people like Shimodu, who did, he did Tupac and his crew out on the West Coast in the 90s. You got like Jonathan Mannion did the DMX, Hell is Hot, and Blood of My Blood. He did that. You know, even new people like Jordan Spencer, who follows Young Dolph and Kevin Gates. Like these people have changed the game of photography. These dudes are making money. Kevin Gates is paying him, I'm sure, really well to go shoot for him. And while he's doing that, he's also building his own on the back end. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that opportunity hasn't happened before probably 2009. You know what I'm saying? It's like photographers weren't getting, like Ravi B, she shot Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Like she dug in with them, making her money, and now she's having other opportunities. You know, so those are the people that motivated me because of when I came up. You know, that's gonna be a goal of mine, is to like get in with somebody. When Tony starts coming in with like photography money, I'm gonna be on tour with him. Maybe I'm sure with him.
Tony. Before,
But you know, that's the opportunities that are going to be afforded to like professional music photographers now. So I think it's changed. It's different than it was. You know.
Tony, that eye contact serves as a verbal contract.
Damn, my nigga, man, I really fuck with you. I really fuck with you, man. I really fuck with you, man.
Any other questions?
All I want to say is that something that really influenced me, since you mentioned the bass god earlier, Lil B has this famous song called Wonton Soup. And in the third verse, this fool says, fuck you rap niggas cause you scared of your damn self. And that lyric is so important to me because I feel like it speaks to what I was talking about earlier about how like a lot of artists are really concerned about doing something that they think is gonna go over or get popular, and it might not really be a real expression of who they are, and I think that's bullshit. It's super whack.
Yo, Natural, I think you had a question. What is it?
That's correct, because my question was Lil B. I swear that was my question.
Thank you, bass god. Thank you, bass.
TYBG. Hashtag TYBG.
No other questions? Any other questions? In the back?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have kids, but if you had a kid or if you had a child, what advice would you give them if they wanted to follow the same path that you've gone?
That's so crazy because I was on the plane watching the Whitney Houston documentary, and her mom, Cissy Houston, was a great singer, and I was thinking about what if my kid wants to be a fucking artist of some sorts. I would tell them the same thing, be themselves, and I'd really push into them to train and to work hard and fucking build up their chops so they have the talent for it and not just the idea or the fascination with it. They have the actual physical skills to do it and have the training to do it. And I tell them to keep their options open too, you know what I mean? Don't like be afraid to try different stuff. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Try to develop that same passion and that same talent across multiple things, you know? Whether you're like, think about an artist like Pimp C, who is not only a great rapper, but a great producer and a great singer, etc. You know, he was able to channel his passions into all these different elements that related back to his one dream. I think that's important for everybody that has a dream that's a little outside the box.
Yeah, I was just telling them they gotta do it, like they gotta do it on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta throw them in that water. Like I was thinking about Kobe Bryant and like how like his dad was an NBA player, but he had to be the one with the drive and the determination to be the best player ever. So like, yeah, that's all. Like, don't expect me to be the one to, like, yeah, of course I'm gonna show you the ropes. I'm gonna give you whatever information you need and everything, but like that's on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My biggest piece of advice would be prepare to sacrifice. Cause it ain't gonna be free, and I'm not talking about money. It's gonna take a piece of your soul. It's gonna take a piece of your heart. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna miss your mom's surgery. You're gonna, miss your sister's birthday for 3 months. For 3 years. Like, you're gonna have to sacrifice, and like, you need to be prepared along with that sacrifice to maybe give up something that you're not ready to give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, time is money, we all know that. You might have to give up a habit you don't want to really give up right now. You might have to give up sleep. You might have to give up cake. You might have to give up love, my man. You might have to give up love, my man. Yeah, stop, bro. You might have to give up love, you know what I'm saying? You might have to give up, sacrifice something. So, get ready,
I think for me, should I have children? They don't really have to do much because I got hustle my genetics. As far back as you can go, that like is historically I can account for it. All my abuelas, everybody, they just like didn't waste time. And I know that as far as me, the main thing I can do is instill that same history to my kids, because with that, I can't willingly be complacent or whack or any kind of anything, because I know what my grandparents and my parents went through, and like, so I don't know if it is condition or genetics or whatever, but I know that I mean, I just never make excuses. And that plus, you know, everything they said and having people like this in your environment, you know what I'm saying? You can set that up, right?
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna keep motivating each other to do what we love forever, man. It's fucking crazy. I done known him for so long now. Like, he was one of my first supporters ever in my life.
I brought Fat Tony when he was still in high school.
I was in high school, nigga, you feel me? Real shit. I ain't never been nowhere. I barely left my neighborhood.
I was like, look,
you know what I mean?
Hey, and the crazy, like, this is one of my first supporters too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was all in from the jump. He had that turnaround, that hoodie right there with the United States on there, keep it true. Or y'all ain't Trill.
Oh, yeah.
Had that exact hoodie, sweatshirt on, like, you know what I'm saying, that night. You feel me? Or was it you or you or Flint? One of y'all had it on. Like, from there, you know what I'm saying? And we just linked up at the Viceland shit, you know what I mean? And that's it, like, turn up. You know what I mean? Like,
I got a question. So, Tony strikes me as the type of person that didn't have his own locker. That true? Yeah, you know, you use other folks' lockers, store your books in this locker.
Did you have
or
your own
was that
locker?
just me?
I don't really get the reference because my high school, I feel like, wasn't like a traditional school. It was like mad small, and I did not have a locker.
I guess you didn't use my locker then.
I have a question. What time is it?
But wait. Does like that mean you like explain yourself, please? Because I want to know.
You know, I don't know. I never wanted the money my mother gave me to pay for the locker.
It costs money to get a locker.
Cost like $15 for the locker for the year. So I took that money and bought other stuff with it. So I used somebody else's locker.
I 100% used any money that I got growing up to put into music or just the shit that I love. 100%. 100%.
It's 4:45, so I think it's time that Shirt Off Feet performs. You ready? Oh wait, Tito's got it.
Hey, one last question. What made y'all actually fall in love with this shit? Like, as far as like music, as far as like the art, as far as everything. Don't hit me with no cliche shit, be like, oh, UGK or something like that. Because what made me fall in love with this shit was Fat Five Freddy. That was my nigga. If you're a real hip hop fan, you know what that is. What made y'all fall in love with this shit? What made y'all fall in love with this?
So T.
First?
Yeah, the first person that would use.
I will tell you this, my very first CD, I'm old, I'm 30 years old, y'all. My first CD was Crisscross. And I remember looking at them being like, damn, they some key, because I always wanted to make music from like the day I was born. But then I saw them and I was like, damn, they closer to my age and they making music. Me and my cousin Lawrence should form a rap group and we should do this shit.
hey, it's crazy you said that because, like, dead ass, like, Crisscross was my first inspiration ever. Like, I still dress like Crisscross dead ass, like, damn near. Like all the purple and turquoise and shit, like, that was from, like, Crisscross and how they come through, like, the backwards pants and, like, swag shit. Them. And then, like, I was one of those kids, like, I grew up, like, I never turned the TV off, like, ever. Like, so I'm always watching, like, VH1 and, like, all that shit. And so, you know what I'm saying? I seen like I seen a documentary about like Michael Jackson Thriller, and like it was like the whole behind the scenes shit. That's what made me want to like be an entertainer. And then they would always have shit about like hip hop on there with like Beastie Boys and like all the B-boy shit. And like I don't know, that's what really like made me like interested in like hip hop in the first place. You feel me? And then I don't know, I just been lit since then. Like I bought Master P the Last Don on cassette type shit. My grandma was pissed. And ever since then, I always had it in my mind to do it one day, and then it just dropped on me. I didn't fall in love with it until I was a teenager and I did my first song. And I felt like God told me to go to the studio that day. I had no idea what I was doing. Like, dead ass. I don't know. I know everybody don't believe in God, but I believe in God, and I felt God. And, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I dead ass, like, feel like it dropped on me at the stoplight that day. And I asked my bro, I was like, you want to go to the studio? Because, like, a lot of people in Team Ness were already rapping. And we had DJ, we had everything already put together. And I went. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, but I was like, it's like 15 people in here. I'm finna wing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. I just did it, and like I said earlier, I went up to the school like in the next couple of days, and people fucked with it, and I already knew that I would give up everything for it.
No doubt.
Yeah, for real.
No doubt.
It was born. I feel like that's when I was born, you feel me? Like, dead ass.
Damn, man, you just got us old folks up here talking about shit before our time. I don't know if y'all can relate. We talking about Michael Jackson and Chris Cross.
Right, Fat Five Freddy and shit.
Fat Five
All
Freddy.
that shit.
I love Fat Five Freddy because he's the type of dude that like a lot of different shit and was able to connect it, which is how I felt growing up. You know what I mean?
He was in the first hip-hop record.
I was mad in the rap music, I was in the punk music, and I had friends from all different parts of my town, and they all came to my birthday party, you feel me? But I feel like throughout my life, I had different influences, kind of like you. I had the Michael Jackson Thriller tape, the shit was epic. Bought that shit at a little VHS store, you know what I mean? Grew up loving Criss Cross, loved Prince too. I found out about Prince when I was in like high school through my history teacher, Mr. Garner. He was a big Prince fan, and I told him this one weekend I decided to really listen to Purple Rain and to his album Dirty Mind, and then he burned me like 8 or 9 Prince CDs, and I just took off from there, and I've been a fucking rebel ever since.
Yeah, facts.
I'm gonna go the other way with it, and what made me fall in love with photography is because like photography can sometimes feel like a special club. It's like unique. Maybe not everybody does it as a professional, you know. So it's kind of like a little, you know, just like a little club or whatever. And like, you know, to be a part of that, and then to have people that you feel are better than you, that you respect, to respect your work, you puff your chest up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's, you know, we all got a little ego, so it's like it feels good when you know like somebody is definitely better than you, more veteran than you, and they appreciate your art. You know what I'm saying? With so much art, like, you know, some people I work with, I'm like, yo, this dude can work with anybody. So I gotta appreciate where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go, you know what I'm saying? If you got a budget, you can go anywhere in the world and get a photographer. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm humbled by that. You know, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And so those moments are what made me fall in love.
And you say your boy is Fat Five Freddy. My old school guy, Kurt Blow, my guy. That's who he originated like the pretty boy shit. Like he showed up like 2 bitches everywhere he goes, tight leather pants and shit.
Yo, he
was the first. He was the first one to go like to like go gold and shit, get record deals and shit. Shout out Kurt Blow.
Yo, he had a fishnet tank top.
No, not me. I've been fat my whole life. I can't wear shit like that. I can't wear like no crop tops and shit.
I just got one more thing to say, because Teeta trying to make niggas old. Fat Five Freddy was the first host of Young TV Raps in the 90s, nigga. Yeah. Curtis Blow was from the 80s.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold up. No, Fat Five Freddy, the old nigga, he was rocking in the 70s, bro.
But I'm talking about Fat Five Freddy from Young TV Raps. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the same
He was still out. Like he was out though.
He was hanging out with Basquiat and with Blondie. He old, bro. He old.
I just had to give my man Kurt Blow, you know what I'm saying, that real credit though, man. Shout out my boy.
I stole a Bone Thugs Harmony CD when I was like 10.
Give it up for that. Give it up for stealing the Bone Thugs CD when you were youth.
Slow clap. Unless there's any more questions. Oh, actually, I got one last thing. I got 2 things. Talk about Trill City and talk about Texas and cultural appropriating.
Where do I begin?
Alright, so yeah,
I got
like,
no skin in the game on this.
yeah, so Trill City, yeah, that's been, like I said, that's been a big influence on my life, big impact on my life, because like I didn't really have any outside like support except for like everything was team next, you feel me? And like everything outside, like we had a few resources and then that dried up, and then like the Trill City shit was real like cultural, but not. It was different. It was a different aspect. You know what I mean? Like it was graffiti and like everything I always fucked with, but didn't really have like the outlet to. You know what I mean? So like I always fucked with that. That's like straight entrepreneur, like pioneer shit. Like everything I stand for is what Trill City stand for, and I fuck with that for life. Texas culture appropriation, everything. Like they be trying to give it to Atlanta and Cali, but niggas is sipping syrup and wearing grills and doing all that. Like, they got that shit from us. I don't care what nobody say. Like, it's true. I got it all on the jacket right now. Like, they know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Fat Tony, when all the New York niggas resurfaced with that Texas shit, who they holler at? They holler at Fat Tony.
Hey, yo, check it out.
I'm just thinking it real.
A lot of lame niggas co-opted the word trill back in the day, the last, 5, 6, 7 years. Luckily, if you've noticed, a lot of that shit fell out of fashion. It was a fad. But the people who are really down with the trill from day one are still repping it. And I'm glad that we still in this bitch. You know what I mean? Facts. Question.
As a fellow New Yorker, I feel like you guys are coming at us.
No, I love New York niggas. I love New York niggas. You know what I mean?
Flavor Flav was wearing a grill. ODB was wearing a grill when y'all niggas was in
Those were fronts. Those were fronts. We got grills.
That's facts.
At that point, he was wearing a grill.
That's fact. I think Bushwick Bill might have had it. I don't know. Oh, hey, dude. This has become cyclical.
Oh.
Hey, we got it.
Turn the room around.
What about Big Gip? How old is he?
Big Gip about 50, man.
Big Gip is pretty old.
Flavor Flav about 60. He had a grill too, though.
He is about 60.
Hold up, man.
But when
Cut it.
We have to do the real analysis on the real.
We'll have a separate topic on this.
We not starting no motherfucking civil wars and hip hop, nigga. Shit lame. Hip hop is for everybody. We fucking represent every region from New York to Texas and all that shit.
We're doing an independent study.
I'm gonna say, New York our family, man. We always gonna have our sibling rivalry, cause shit, y'all started rapping before we did, or whatever.
Hey, I think Southern gospel people were definitely rhyming first.
James Brown was the first rapper. He's from the South.
That nigga from the South like a motherfucker.
I can do rapping, but I can't.
They know how I feel about New York.
James Brown also lived in Harlem.
But where you from?
He lived in Harlem.
Where you from?
Michael Mansion's from the South.
This needs to end.
Hold up, Norman Bates, where you from? Where you?
New York.
You from East New York? Don't say nothing else to this nigga. This nigga, where? You from Brownsville or where?
I'm from Canarsie.
Oh, nigga, don't say nothing to this nigga. You know, real good from Canarsie.
Remember that dude from Brooklyn was like, it's official tissue.
I got his number still. I'm so Brownsville.com.
Brownsville, dude.
Y'all fucking text him. Hold up. I actually remembered us hanging out with him.
He told us he was going to All-Star Weekend in Houston. We were me and Fat Tony were in Brooklyn for 2 weeks.
Yo,
it was crazy.
I fucking texted this nigga recently, and I was like, yo, that was so cool. Oh, that's
right, Vinny.
That was so cool that night. And this fool text took me back. I'm still cool, ...
All right, Fee, you ready?
New York shit.
Yeah.
We fuck with Brooklyn niggas though, man. Just so y'all know. Give it up.
Shout out to Tito.
I wanna plug my social media, s.p.media, SDOT, I got books in the back, the prints are for sale. I got some other shit back here. Y'all check it out. Thank you for coming.